Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Birgit Koopsen and I'm a brand ambassador for Gelli Arts and I am in the Netherlands. Today I'm going to show you how to create some lovely and colorful cards using your least favorite gel prints. So we all have probably a stash of gel prints that are somehow not our favorites or not the best ones we made, like the color combination is just off, or the texture we intended to create didn't pull completely, or they are a bit boring or stuff like that, and or we should have added an extra layer, or maybe we added a layer too much to make it a beautiful print. And we then wonder what to do with those prints, because if you are like me, you will have a hard time throwing prints away. So you have probably a big stash of prints that you don't know what to do with. So we're going to turn them into cards, and let's just start focusing on my hands, and I will show you what we will do. Okay, yes. So I have a couple of samples here of cards I made, and it's really a very easy way to turn your prints into cards. It's basically just adding one layer. And we're going to use handmade masks and especially very simple shapes. So you can make the shapes as intricate as you would like. So you could also do things like butterflies or flowers or anything. But I think personally that you get the most striking effect when you use very simple shapes like circles or triangles or stars or hearts or anything like that. So when you are when it's not your first time attending one of my classes, you know that I usually start with creating a couple of backgrounds and then work on top of those backgrounds. But because today is about using your prints that you're not so happy with, I'm not going to create backgrounds first, because it would be really hard for me to make not so nice backgrounds on purpose. And I just looked through my stash and took out some backgrounds that I am, for one or the other reason, not too happy with. And I'm going to work on top of those backgrounds, and I'm going to show you what I have here. So I even have some like cleanup paper, because I also really have a hard time throwing away cleanup paper, especially when it has some nice colors or some nice textures like this one. But I also have some prints that are kind of boring because there's not a lot going on, or there's not a really nice contrast in the colors, or because the paint or the ink didn't pull completely from the plate and left me with some wide open spaces that I don't really like. And so I have a lot of backgrounds here, like this one, for instance, that turned out quite boring. But if you add a layer of contrasting color on top, you will see that it's going to completely change the print that I had, and you will not even recognize it anymore. Or if you have some prints like these where the colors mixed in a way that they became a bit a bit muddy. So I mixed some yellow and purple here, and it didn't turn out like really nice. But if I add something contrasting or light on top, I could totally fix that. So here I have a lot of different backgrounds, and I'm just going to pick a couple today that I'm going to work on. And also here I have some more like cleanup paper that I could use and turn into some pretty cards too. So about the masks that I am going to use today, I have some here that I have already used, and they are most of them are die cuts. So I have circle die cut and heart die cuts and some butterflies that I actually didn't use yet, and the stars. And these are die cuts from paper. So you can just use normal copier paper, or if you want them to be a little bit more sturdy, you could take some card, like the card that I also used to print on, which is the Recollections white card. And so this is a bit heavier than the normal copier paper, and it also has a really nice smooth surface, so you will not get any texture when you use it on your gel plate. So this is really nice card to create your masks from. And I didn't put it on the list for this class, but I'm going to show it anyway, or tell you anyway, because I'm lately using Duralar matte film to create masks and stencils. And Duralar is a polyester film, and it's created to use for mixed media. So you can draw on it, and you can use all kinds of mixed media products on top. But I really like it to create masks and stencils, because the product itself is translucent. So if you would want to create a mask or a stencil, you could print something and put the Duralar on top, and you can trace it and then cut it out and have the mask ready. And it's because it's this polyester film, it's not, it doesn't tear. You can't tear it, and it can hold very liquid products. So it's not going to buckle or get all wet when you use it with paints or inks. So that's a perfect product to create masks. And I used it with a die cut today to create these hearts. And the benefit of these is that because it's not tearing, you can use them over and over and over again, and you can even clean them. So if you have used them with acrylic paint or with ink, you can just clean them the same way as you would use would clean the stencils and the masks that you buy. So and there's another thing why you might want to choose Duralar to create your masks instead of paper, but I'm actually going to show that to you later during this class. But even if you use just paper, if you are a bit careful the first couple of times you pull them off the plate and you build up a layer or several layers of acrylic paint on top of each other, then they will also become quite sturdy, because you basically create a layer of plastic on top of the paper when the acrylic paint dries. So then if they hold for a couple of prints, then they will probably hold for a long time, because you just created that plastic surface on top of them. So I'm going to use my Gelli Arts 5x7" plate today. And as you can see, mine is a little bit yellow. That's because I've used it with inks, and inks tend to stain the gel plate, and you will not get off the yellow color. It's because of the pigments that are in a lot of especially yellow and orange inks, and also some green inks. And you can't get them off, not even with baby oil, but it does not affect your prints, and it also does not affect your plate. You will not ruin your plate, and you can do the same stuff with it as you could when it was still looking pretty and clean. So I'm going to use today my Liquitex Basic acrylics and my Winsor Newton Galleria acrylics. And let me see, take out some nice colors. So for this specific technique where I want to, what I want is really cover up areas of my print and leave the areas open where I put my mask. So I want my colors to be opaque. I don't want to see too much of the texture that's underneath. So if you can see a little bit of the texture, like in this one, I don't know if you can see it, but I can still see a little bit of the orange of the thread shining through the color, but that's okay. But you don't want the entire texture showing through your background. So you need opaque paints, and not all of the paints will be opaque. And how do you know? Well, if you have a little bit more professional paints and student paints, then you will see on the packaging, on the tube, a little square, and both the Liquitex and the Galleria have the squares. So I have, let me see, I have all three options here. So here you see a little square that only shows the outline. And that means that this is a translucent or transparent color. And if you have the little square half full, then it's a semi-translucent color. And if the little square is black, then it means that it is an opaque color. So that's how you know which colors are opaque and which are not. But what to do if you want to use this color, because that's the perfect color to go with your background, and you know it's not an opaque one. What I like to do is to print a white layer first and cover up my background with the white, and then do a second layer on top with the opaque, with the translucent color. So the base for my color will be white, which means that the layer that I put on top will have the actual color as it is in the tube. But I will show you in my first print. So first, let me pick one of my backgrounds to print on. And it doesn't really matter which one I take. Okay, let's take this one. And so it's mostly yellow and a little bit of pink, purple kind of colors. And so I need a contrasting color to make these colors stand out. I intended this print originally to be way more bright than it turned out. So I think this is actually a print I made with alcohol ink, and I wanted the colors to be really bright, and they are not really bright, but I can make them pop more by using a contrasting color. So there are two ways, or at least there are probably more, but there are two kinds of layers that I print on top, and either they are just one plain color like this one, and I like to use one color if my background is really busy. So sometimes you have a background that is really busy and you're like, oh, this is way too much, but by covering up part of that background, it's suddenly not too much anymore. It's like little details, little areas with more busyness, and but there is one quiet color. I don't know if you would say it like that in English, but to calm it down. Like, yeah, I think that's the right way to say it. To calm down the busyness, you can use one color, and then it's not like overwhelming anymore. Or if you have like a really boring background, like I think I have one like that here, like this one, for instance, is quite a boring background, and only adding one color would probably, for me, not be enough. I would like to add more color to this. And then I like to use several colors in that one layer that I put on top. And so I can add more color in one go. So here was also my background was something like this in blues, but I added 3, 4, I think maybe 4 colors on top, and it looks so totally different than this, right? So for this one, I think I would just go for one color, and maybe 2. Maybe I'm just going to try something. And you know what? I'm going to place my mask on top of my background using a repositionable adhesive. So here I have the Easy Dots from Scrapbook Adhesives. And so I can apply my mask in the area where I want them on my background. And I can replace them in the right area if I want to do more than one layer. So if it happens that I don't like the color that I'm going to print on top of this, I will just put the mask back in the right position and print another color on top. And I can go on like that as long as I want until I like my background. But usually only one layer is enough. And I like to have the masks in different sizes. So I'm just going to play a little with the sizes and apply them to my background. And I also like it if some of the shapes are going off the background at the edge. So it doesn't look as if the shapes are like framed inside of this background, but as if it's a piece from a larger piece just cut out in a certain area. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to put these on, and as I am working now on backgrounds that were already made, I know for sure that the paint on my backgrounds is dry. But if you are planning on creating backgrounds, especially to make cards, you have to make sure that your paint is completely dry before adding the repositionable adhesive, because if your paint is still wet, you might pull off the paint when you remove the mask. So that's something to keep in mind. I think I might even have one here that I can show you what happens when you don't wait long enough. Yeah, so here I have one where I didn't wait long enough to apply that second layer of paint, and here you can see the white dots. That's where the adhesive pulled away the paint from my background, and that's not what we want. So you have to think about that. Do I have one more of those bigger circles? Maybe no. Okay, then I'm just going ahead like this, creating a composition with my circles. So now I can just turn it around and put it on the plate without my mask going in an area where I don't want them. I think this, maybe I am going to add one right there. Okay. So
can I ask a quick question? Somebody
of course
jumped in and asked if you can use paper punches to punch out mask shapes from the Duralar.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
You
good.
can. Yeah, it's the same. You can cut it like paper. So if you can use the punch with paper, then you can also use it with the Duralar. That should not be a problem.
Okay, great.
It's very easy to cut with scissors or with dies or with a craft knife. It's very easy to work with product, actually.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to use my bright aqua green, and as I showed before, this is an opaque color. So I'm going to add a little bit to the plate. And I also want to use some of this, and this is a semi-translucent color. So I am going to mix it a little bit with the opaque color, so I won't see too much of that background texture shining through. And I don't think you can really see it in within the frame, but I have my cleanup paper here, and it's here at the side. So when I pull away my brayer and I put it over here, I'm rolling off my excess paint and cleaning my brayer. That's what I'm doing here at the side. So just so you know. And I'm also going to take a sheet of paper to rub the paper that's on my plate. So I'm going to put it down there. So I'm just going to roll out my paint, and I'm kind of making it, how do you say it when you make those colors blend? Red, I don't know. Well, anyway, I make the colors blend where they come together, and make sure that I mix the darker blue a bit with the aqua blue, so it gets more opaque. And now I'm just going to put this one on top, and I'm going to use my hands to rub the paper. And I had this question in my previous class that somebody said, why are you using your hands and why are you not using a brayer? So I'm going to explain right away why I'm using my hands, because I'm working with masks, and I want to make sure that I push the paper down, especially around the outlines of my mask, because I want to get crisp edges, crisp outlines of my mask. And when I use a brayer, I can't really feel where the masks are, and I can't put like extra pressure in those areas. So that's why I prefer to do this with my hands instead of with my brayer. So
okay, so Birgit, they've helped us out with your mixing, the rolling. I think you were trying to think of ombre, to get an ombre mix.
Yeah, I think that would be the right word for it. So now I'm pulling up the print, and I'm going to remove the masks, the ones that are still on my background. And there we go. And isn't it amazing how different this background looks now that I added the contrasting color on top? And here it didn't pick up all of the paint, but that's fine with me. That's okay. So if I wanted the background color to be even more opaque, because you can probably see that there's still some texture visible here, I could just simply put these back on in the right position. I can take these off, put them back on, and I could I think this one was here. And then I can just apply another layer on top. Or if I didn't like the color, I could change the color by adding another layer. Or if I would really hate the little white spots there, then I could also add another layer. But I'm going to leave it like this. And as you can see, we now have some paint left on the plate. And this is what usually happens when you create cards like this and work with masks and like this. Then this is what you usually end up with once you have pulled your print. And these can also make really fun backgrounds. So instead of cleaning my plate, I'm just going to add color, contrasting color on top, and then pull it, and I might have a new, really nice new background for a card or an art journal page or whatever I want to use it for. And I'm just going to add some fun bright colors. Let me see, one more.
So Birgit, can you explain, because you're using the word stencil and then you're using the word mask. Can you tell people what you think, the difference?
Yeah, I always have a little bit a hard time explaining, but a mask is when you cover up a certain area and then you print and then you remove the mask, and the open area is what you are left with. And a stencil is the other way around. That's basically where you add the color to the open areas in a stencil, and then the design of the mask is what you're left with. And let me see if I have a sample here of the difference. Okay, so if I say it right, so this is a stencil, and if what happened here is my background is pink, and I put a stencil on top and I add color, and the color gets in the open areas, and that's what creates the design, right? So the design is on top of the background. But in this case, my background was there first, the colored one, and I'm masking off certain areas where I don't want to add color. So instead of adding color in the open areas, I'm not adding color in the areas of the design that I'm about to see. And I'm pretty sure there are way easier ways to explain it. And
can you just show them a stencil? I think that might help. Do you have a stencil there?
I should have one. I have to get one real quick.
Thanks.
Okay, so here I have a couple of handmade. So this is like the circles. This is a mask. I put this on top. I put this on my plate, and when I put my background on top, then this is covering up an area on my background where no paint is getting, right? And then I have a stencil. And when I have a stencil, I'm actually adding color in the open areas. So if I put no, that's not, I don't know if I explained it right.
No, that's good. I think that's just good. The visual of seeing the difference between a stencil and a mask is very helpful. I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if not, I know for sure that if you Google difference mask and stencil, you get a really easy way of explaining it, probably way better than I do.
No, that was great. Okay, sorry.
Okay, Okay, so let's move on to this one. My dried paint on my plate that I don't want to just waste. I want to pull it up because I'm pretty sure that this will give me a really nice result. So I'm just going to get a sheet of paper and I'm going to roll out this paint. And again, I'm blending it in the areas where the colors touch each other. Make sure that I don't have too much paint because I can't say it enough. Too much paint will not pull dried paint from the plate. Only a really thin layer of paint will. I'm going to put this on top and then again rub it with my hands, or now I could actually also use my brayer because there's nothing underneath, and then your brayer sometimes can add just a little bit more pressure. It's a matter of preference. I really like to do it with my hands. I kind of know then that I had all the entire paper, and yeah, I just like to work with my hands. But it can be done with a brayer too. And there we go. Look at this. This is the leftover paint with all the outlines of the circles. And how pretty is this? I could totally use this as a background for in my art journal or for a card. I like it. Okay, so I want to do another one. And I want to show you that even if you don't have any die cuts or punches, that there's a really easy way to create heart shape masks, for instance. What you do is fold your paper, and then you can draw if you want to. I usually just cut it. I just usually cut it like this, and you just cut half a heart. And because you folded the paper, it will a really nice, even a heart with two even sides. Really easy to do. And if you have a hard time cutting it by hand, then you just draw half a heart. But you will always know that you have two even sides because the paper was folded. So that's a really easy way to cut hearts if you don't have any dies. But I'm going to use my Duralar hearts for the next print because I want to show you the difference between paper shapes and Duralar shapes. And I'm going to work on this one later. Okay, I'm just going to, I want one where I need a lighter color for the contrast, so I can do something very different than this one. How about, I want to do something with orange and yellow or something. How about I'm going to print on top of this one or this one. I'm going to print on this one, and I'm going to use yellows and oranges. And my Duralar hearts. And again, I'm just going to apply them with the Easy Dots, the Scrapbook adhesive, repositionable tape. And again, I'm also going to let them go off the page, as I also did with the circles. And as you can see, it works the same way as with the paper using the repositionable adhesive. It's just as easy to use on the Duralar. And one more, I think, down here. That should be enough. Okay. So,
okay, so somebody asked, did you fold the Duralar when you cut out your beautiful little hearts?
No, so I used a die cutting machine to create these hearts. Oh, that's not working on the ink. I can already tell that the adhesive is pulling up the ink. It looks as if it's pulling up the ink. Well, anyway, I'm going to try anyway, and if it's not working, then you can also see how that looks. So yellow and orange, I said, but yellow and orange usually are translucent or semi-translucent, and so that's the case here. Both my orange and my yellow are semi-translucent. So I might add a little bit of white to make it more opaque. It will also take away some of the brightness of the color, but if it's not bright enough to my liking, I could also do a white. I could also have done a white layer first, as I said before. So maybe if you want to do it the way I said before. But now I'm just going to mix with white to make it more opaque, and it will change the color, of course, of the yellow and the orange. But I already had the paint on the plate, so I'm just going to go with it. And I could also still add a second layer if I really don't like how it turns out later. I put way too much paint on my plate, as you can see. And I think the color is not going to be really great, but let's see what happens. I probably will have to do another layer because I was just too quick to show you and didn't think about all the steps. Okay. It might be not too bad when I look at these colors here. Oh, it's absolutely not covering my background at all. So I'm definitely going to add another layer on that. And again, I'm going to, as I said, I used too much paint and I can see it, even though I rolled off quite a bit of it. There's so much paint left on the plate because it was too much. And so I'm just going to pick up this wet paint, because if I would wait for it to dry, that would take a long time. And I just want to continue, but you never know how this turns out. That's actually not too bad. That's quite a fun print, I think. Okay, another print with this one. And I think I'm just going to add a darker. How about the permanent rose? And again, this is a translucent color, so I might want to add something more opaque. Although a bit of the background is already covered, of course, so maybe a semi-translucent one will do the job already. Semi-translucent. And what else do I have? Also semi-translucent. No, then I'm just going to stick to do these two and mix them. Because the translucent one on its own is certainly not going to cover up the background. Now, another try. Good thing that you can always add another layer, right? You really, really don't have to throw away prints, any prints, actually, because there's always something you can add to make it better.
Well, basically, I just keep adding a layer until I like it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's what you can do. And again, a little bit too much paint. Looks like too much paint, but the contrast with my background is much better. So I'm going to try and pull them off without completely ruining. Because this, as I said, these backgrounds were all completely dry, and I'm not really sure why this is now. The adhesive is pulling up some of that background ink, but in this case, it's not like really showing because there's some white in the background anyway. But I think this looks way better already than with the yellow that I did before. So as you can see, an extra layer can completely fix a not so nice background. And what I wanted to show you with the Dualar is this. As you can see, when I pull up the Dualar heart, that there is paint still underneath the masks, and that is because my Dualar is polyester film, so it's basically a kind of plastic, and the paint is not soaking into the plastic. So as long as the paint is wet and you pull up the masks, then the paint stays behind on the plate. And where I had only outlines, mostly only outlines where I used my paper masks, I have hearts completely filled with paints where I use my Dualar. And if you want this effect, if you want this leftover paint after pulling a print like this, and being able to pull this the way it looks now, and you don't have Dualar and you want to do it with paper masks, then after a while, when you use your paper masks like 3 or 4 times, and it has that, what I said before, that like plastic layer, it will also work as the Dualar, because then the paper will also no longer soak up the paint and leave it on the plate. And you can see it a little bit here and here. So here I used 2 masks that I probably used a couple of times already. And these masks here were only maybe used 1 or 2 times or not at all. And they soaked up all the paint from the plate. So that's the difference. So if you like this, then the Dualar mask will give you that like right away from the first print. And otherwise you have to wait, if you use paper masks, until you've built up enough of those layers. So this looks still a little bit wet. I'm just going to put this aside to dry before I will pull it with another color. But I also want to show you real quick how I finish these cards. So I use, let me see, my Posca markers to add details to my cards. And by the way, I can, if there's any of that repositionable adhesive left on your background, you can just rub it away with your finger. And it's like with photo glue. You can just rub it away and you won't see anything of it anymore. So Posca markers are perfect to add details. There's real acrylic paint in them. You can also use other brand acrylic paint markers to do this. You always have to shake them because there is pigments and fluid in there, and if you don't use them, the fluid will lay on top of the pigment, and then if you don't shake them, only the fluid comes out and not the pigments. So you have to shake them, and then if the paint is not like how do you say it, floating, not coming out, then you can just push down the tip and the paint will start running. And then you can add, for instance, little dots around your circles, and the white will give an even bigger contrast and make the colors pop even more. You can also do this with, of course, with any other color. Any color you like, you can use. But I really like the white because of the contrast that it gives. So I have one here with the dots, and here I did little stripes. I also did that with the stars, and actually the stars were not. I thought the contrast between the stars and the background was not big enough. So here I outlined the stars before I added the details around, just to make them pop a little bit more. And here with the hearts, I used the little dots again. So it's basically all really, really simple. It's 1 or 2 layers of color on top of a not so nice print, and then add some little details with an acrylic marker. So if you want them to be a little bit more grungy or a little bit more distressed, not so clean, then you can also add some splattering. I really like to do some splattering, and I also use my Posca markers to do the splattering. And I'm just going to use another color, a different color to show you. How about a pink? So same thing, you have to shake them before using. Make sure the paint is running, and then use something to hit with, for instance, your scissors, and just hit the Posca marker to create those little splatters. And then bright and light colors show up best on darker backgrounds, and darker colors show up best in lighter backgrounds. And as you can see, you get really nice little splatters doing it this way. And as you maybe saw, I have some quotes. No, it's not called quotes, sentiments. I think you call it sentiments, right? Yeah. Sentiments on my cards. And what I did is I make these sheets. I just type them on my computer with a whole bunch of different sentiments, and that I can just cut out. And I usually just use my scissors to cut them out. I don't need them to be like perfect. Of course, you can use a ruler and a craft knife and like cut them out completely straight, perfectly straight. But I'm fine when they are a bit off. And to make sure that or to make sure, to make that even a bit more not so perfect, I just use a black pen like a Sharpie and create a little outline. And on purpose, I'm going to make that not like a perfect straight line, but a little bit, again, a little bit off. And then just glue it on top of my background. Of course, I have these cards here. The cards I'm using are folded cards, also from the Recollections line. Let me see if I can find them here. I made a big mess. Here I have them. So
while you're looking, somebody wanted to know if you printed your sentiments on cardstock or regular copy paper.
The one that I have here is a Copier paper, but it's the heaviest one that I can find here at the store. So it is Copier paper, but it's a heavy one, and you could use card or cardstock to do it too. But yeah, you could even do it on regular Copier paper because you're gluing it down on the background anyway. So it doesn't really have to be like a really thick paper. So the cards that I'm using are also Recollections, and they come in a set of 50 cards with 50 envelopes. And if you really want to make it fun for the receiver, then you could also do the printing on the envelope, of course, and create some mail art. And then the cards are in the packaging like this with the scored already, and then you can just fold the card. And so this one is probably not going to fit on top. It's going to be too big. Yeah, so I have to cut off a little bit here or here to have the nice white outline like I have it here, the white frame. And then I glue this on top, and that's it. There I have my card. So are there any questions?
Okay, let's see if they have any. We've answered all of them.
Have we?
We've been entranced watching you. Can you show us those cards again and hold them up close? Because it looks really nice when they're up close.
So I think I saw some people actually printing during this class. Some people worked alongside with me. I hope that if you created something nice, that you will share it on social media, and that you will tag us, Gelli Arts and Michael Stores, because we would love to see what you create in these classes. I have 2 more classes right now already on the Michael's website coming up. The first one is on December 5th, and it will be printing with hand-cut snowflakes. So it's a wintry class. And then on December 12th, I have another class, and we're going to make party lights from paper bags. So we're going to print on paper bags and turn them into party lights. You can already register for those classes. I hope you enjoyed today's class, and I hope I will see you in one of my upcoming classes. And for now, I wish you a wonderful day, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye. Bye-bye.